Hey guys, long time no see. Today I'm going to be doing matrices and matrix multiplication. So to begin with, I'm going to try and explain something that you necessarily need to know for the GCSE, but it just makes it a lot easier if I explain it now, just so I don't go back on myself later. If you've got a scalar, that means a single number that you're timesing by something. So you got this 2, that's the scalar, and then you can have like whatever you want inside these brackets. Okay? A vector is when you've got a bracket that's like this, you've got one on top, one on bottom. So let's just go with random numbers. That's a vector. A matrix is well, it's when you've got more than that. So just for GCSE, we're doing 2 by 2s, but it could be something like that. That's a matrix. So I just want to get that out of the way, just so I don't just so I don't go back on myself when I'm trying to explain it later, because I tried to record this before and that's exactly what I did. So I'm going to knock out the easiest one first. We're going to do scalar multiplication. I'm going to do the one you're probably going to see more often, which is a scalar with a matrix. So let's say you've got 3, and I'm literally just making up numbers here, but obviously it applies everywhere. You've got this. You literally take whatever scalars on the outside, multiply it by each of the numbers, so you get this. That's your scalar multiplication. Okay, so here I've got a matrix and we're going to multiply that with a vector. So the way I'm going to write that out is we're going to keep the matrix as it is, but what you can do is kind of raise the vector above it, and you'll see what I mean in a sec, but it makes it easier to visualize. So we're going to raise it above like this. And our answer is just going to be a 1 by 2, or 2 or 1, I'm not quite sure which order it goes. Anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and visualize which row, which column it is. So we know it's gonna be this row, and there's only one column. So what you have to do is essentially take the numbers and multiply them, like kind of match them together, and then add what you get. So the 3 goes with this 3 here, and the 7 goes with this, and the 5 goes with this 7 here. So you're gonna have 3 times 3 plus 7 times 5, which will give you 44. Make sure you write it out in full in the exam. I'm just doing it to save time and space. But likewise, we're going to say 2 goes with this 3 here, and 1 goes with this 7 here. So that's going to give you 13. And that is your answer. So this is the most complicated part of the video, I would say. So if you, or at least the most complicated aspect to understand. So if you can get a grasp on this, then you should be good to go. Like we did last time, we're basically going to write it out, and we're going to raise the second one above. When you're working with matrices, it's important that you don't flip the order, because it can, it often will give a different answer. It's not like addition where you can just flip it. So, like I kind of touched on last time, the way I like to, because you see all this, you're like, which numbers do I put together? I like to kind of think which row and which column. So if we usually have to start with the top left. Let's say we start with the top right. We'd be thinking, okay, so we need this row here, and we're going to be working with this column. So then you can kind of see, okay, so this 6 is going to go with the 3, and the 4 is going to also go with the 4. So yeah, you're basically just gonna, and again, make sure you write it out in the exam, because otherwise you may lose marks. But 6 times 3 is 18, 4 times 4 is 16, so it's gonna add to 34. And so you kind of just follow that same process for the rest of them. So if we go over here, 6 times 3 plus 4 times 2, that's gonna give you 26. 1 times 3 plus 0 times 2, that's gonna give you 3. And 1 times 3 plus 0 times 4 is also going to give you 3. And like that, you've got your answer. So it's going to be a 26, 34, 3, and 3. And so, yeah, if you can grasp that, then you can essentially, like, even if they throw in some fancy problems, you'll be able to hopefully solve that. So, yeah. You may get some where you get multiple back to back and you just do it as you work, but you make sure you do it from left to right because like I said, sometimes it can give you kind of skewed answers if you flip the order. So you're just going to want to do these two to begin with. And just for the sake of time, I'm not going to like go and explain every step again, but hopefully you can see how I'm doing it. I'll try and move my cursor around to show where I'm going. So now we've got this matrix from multiplying these two, we're going to multiply it by this vector. Don't do this in the exam. I'm just going to rub out what I've got here just so I can just so that I have to write it all out again. But this one's even easier. We're just going to pair it up. So 8 times 5 plus 7 times 2, which is obviously 54. And then we've got 60 plus 20, which gives you 80. Make sure you don't forget, like I just did, to put in the brackets. But yeah, that should be your answer. I'm going to finish it off here with one last problem, which kind of looks a bit horrible, but it's not so bad. You just have to do it in reverse, essentially. So what you're going to want to do is, what I would do is write it out in the way that we've been writing it out throughout the video. So again, this looks bad, but what you got to remember is that take this 10 here, it's only made of y times 3 and y times y. So from there, we know that 10 equals y squared plus 3y. And likewise, I mean, I'd say this one's even easier because you got 0 times y, which basically deletes that. So you know that minus 12 has to be 3x. And for that, we could just solve x being minus 4. Oh, I forgot to specify. Yeah, we're looking for we're trying to find the values of x and y. But yeah, from here we can tell that x equals minus 4. And so from here, I can I don't know. I can just tell that y is going to be 2 from this, but we're not gonna do it like that. We're gonna solve it legitly. So I'm gonna take it all the way up here. I'm gonna rearrange that to be quadratic. So I'm gonna write it as y squared plus 3y minus 10 equals 0. And then you can just put it into the double brackets as it is. And so here you can tell that y is going to be, you got 2 like I said, but again, the reason we actually solve it and we don't just go off of what I said when I looked at when I eyeballed it, is because it's also minus 5. So yeah, hopefully that's a demonstration on why actually solve it instead of just eyeballing it. But uh, with that, x equals minus 4 and y equals 2 and minus 5. So hopefully that helped, and I will see you in the next video.